I'm Heather Sullivan. I'm a vacation specialist with Dream Vacations, and I'm your host for this evening. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. We know that your time is so important and so valuable, and we know that you have so many other things to do, and we appreciate you being here tonight. Sherry Griffiths is here from CruiseTipsTV, and I know many of you know her. She has a huge following on many social media platforms, and we here at Montebello and Associates have joined partners with Cruise Tips TV to bring you the best travel advice and travel service here in the industry. So Sherry, we so thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Heather. We appreciate you as well. And thank you all so much for joining us. Some of you are here live, and some of you are going to be watching this on a replay. As Heather mentioned, we have created a partnership with Montebello Dream Vacations, and Heather takes care of many of our subscribers already. She's booking cruise travel, all-inclusive resort travel, all types of different travel for them. So we really appreciate the partnership because I am not a travel agent, so we need someone wonderful and reliable to rely on for our community, and it's worked out so beautifully. So this evening is part of something that Heather has been doing throughout this global health crisis, where she has been coordinating with a lot of her connections in the industry to bring us live interactive events so that we can all learn more about our favorite cruise lines. And tonight, we have the great honor of being joined by Princess Cruises. Marissa is here to tell us what is new at Princess Cruises right now. And we're also going to focus quite a bit on Alaska this evening. So Marissa has some really interesting surprises, some really cool itineraries, a ship revamp. There's just a lot that's going to keep our attention. It's going to be a really fun presentation. So without further ado, we'd like to introduce Marissa from Princess Cruises.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the warm welcome, Sherry and Heather. So yes, my name is Marissa Rosage. I am here today to present all things that Sherry just mentioned. So I'm going to quickly share my screen here. So hopefully everything goes well. Technology is wonderful when it's our friend. So hopefully you all can see that. Yes, can I get a nod, Heather?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. So yeah, so that's me, and let's just go ahead and jump right in, shall we? So starting with number one, where I've been getting a lot of my questions. Hold on, it's not transitioning. There we go. Okay, so where I've been getting a lot of my questions is just what is going to be Princess Cruises' health protocol and safety measures in this new COVID environment once we're back on board. So I just wanted to start right off the bat and hit the nail on the head. And we have some guidelines. We have kind of a bare bones outline of what we're going to be doing on board. Of course, more hand sanitizing stations, hand washing stations. We're going to be doing some thermal scanning here, stricter embarkation, disembarkation policies. But I wanted to share with you all, nothing is locked in stone yet. So while we're still going through this entire process, as you know, the science is changing on this situation every day. And we just don't want to lock ourselves into a policy that could be irrelevant when we're finally sailing again. So you can find the information we have available right now online at princess.com. You can also always just reach out to Heather. She has this information as well. But so you know, if you're flipping through it and some of it seems a little bit vague, right now that's intentional. We will definitely have a lot more information closer to sailing. So just keep a heads up for that. And then one other thing I want to share regarding our policy is it's called our Cruise with Confidence cancellation policy. And what we have right now is for sailings through the end of April of 2021, it's allowing you as a guest to be able to cancel up to 30 days prior to sailing. If you incur a cancellation fee, it's going to just be turned into a future cruise credit with us. So you're not losing that money up until that 30 days. Final payment has now been pushed to 60 days, whereas before it was 90 days. So again, we're allowing you more time to really think about, is this the right decision for me and my family, wherever the case is that you're going, right? So And then all deposits are refundable. So it's just letting you all know that we have that. So now that all the policy stuff is out of the way, I want to really jump into all the cool new stuff that we have on board, starting with what we call the Princess Medallion Class Vacation. This is a brand new technology that we're putting through our entire fleet. And so I wanted to share what that means for you on your new vacation, and actually how this is going to help support what we're calling physical distancing, not social distancing, because we're social creatures, right? We want to be able to interact, and we want to go and bond and have and share new experiences. But so some of this technology will allow you to safely physical distance. So number one, boarding the ship faster, right? Nobody wants to start their vacation by standing in a line, but now you can ahead of time pre-register with all your information, and you actually get sent in the mail. You can see a couple of these guests are wearing them. The kids are wearing lanyards. You get sent this little medallion in the mail. So when you get to the ship, you don't have to go through any additional check-in process. You're already checked in. So you go from security all the way to the ship. So there's no more crowding and herding in the terminals. So number one, physical distancing, check, right? Number two is keyless stateroom entry. So again, this medallion is going to act as your stateroom key as well as your onboard credit card. But what it's going to do is when you're about one stateroom away, you're going to hear this little click. You're going to see your face and name show up on the LED display. You can see it there on the screen behind the guest, and it'll say, welcome back, Heather. And you will just casually then open the door, and the door is then going to lock behind you. So just quick and easy. You don't have to stand around in the hallway fumbling around trying to look for your stateroom card. Next up, on-demand service. So if anyone has been using Uber Eats recently, or Yelp or Grubhub, for example, right, while we're in this lovely quarantine environment, this is another service that's very similar to that on board our ships. So wherever you are, whether you're in your stateroom balcony, or if you're in the piazza, or if you are on the pool deck, if you want a burger and a beer, you can actually order that right there on the app. If you don't have the app, if you don't have a smartphone, that's okay too. You can flag down any crew member. Even technically the captain can do this, though we don't encourage you to flag down the captain and ask him for a cheeseburger and a beer. But you can flag anyone down. They can put in the order for you, and then shortly thereafter, a crew member will come deliver that order to you. So again, encouraging that physical distancing so you don't have to go up to a bar and stand in a crowded line or a crowded buffet environment to get what you want. And then one of the last things I want to touch on with this new technology, it's called Ocean Compass. So if you ever travel with somebody who, you turn around and they've gone poof, you don't know where they've gone, this is a fantastic way to track those people down. And again, whether you have the smartphone app or not, we have these touchscreen terminals throughout the entire ship where you can go and find your friends. So whether it's someone that you're already traveling with, they're on your booking or cross-referenced booking, you can find them and get directions to exactly where they are on the ship. Or if you've made friends on board the ship, you can actually, like Facebook, send them a friend request. You can match that way, and then you can find them the same way moving forward for the length of that sailing. So another great way where you don't have to roam the hallways. You can just quickly go to where you're trying to find your friends and meet up. All right, and let me know if you have any questions on that technology there at the end. So now I want to talk about Alaska. So I'm sure many of you came today really interested in Alaska, and this is a product that I absolutely love and I am so proud to represent as part of Princess Cruises. The reason for that is we are #1 in Alaska. Princess actually takes more guests there every single year than any other cruise line. We've been voted #1 16 years in a row with Travel Weekly and 19 years in a row on the Gallup poll of travel advisors. So these are all the travel advisors, the professionals in this industry voting us as a brand #1. So we are just so thankful for that. But we understand, of course, you still have a lot of options when it comes to Alaska in general, and other suppliers, and just even cruise lines. too. So why do you want to consider Princess specifically for Alaska, besides the fact that we're number one? So first of all, we have been there for more than 50 years. And by doing so, we've established really strong relationships with the local businesses. And that'll come in play in just a second on my next slide here. Again, how I've already discussed the Medallion class experience, we have that technology on the majority of our ships that travel to Alaska. And as I mentioned, we're number one. So we have top rated cruises and in-depth cruise tours. And if you don't know what a cruise tour is, we're going to cover that shortly too. So we already mentioned the onboard, it's an award-winning program, but our onboard program as well is something that we really call out separately. So not only do we have a partnership with Discovery and Animal Planet, we put together really fantastic curated excursions in partnership with those. So if you have kids that are really into marine life, we have excursions tailored for that. We also have onboard activities and learnings so that they can really get that hands-on knowledge in that destination. So speaking more about that, so some of the things we have on board. So we call it North to Alaska. And it's really all encompassing the local tastes and cultures and bringing in local experts to speak to that destination. We actually do this everywhere, but we're just going to do a deep focus today in Alaska and what that programming looks like on board, starting with puppies, because who doesn't love puppies? So we actually call this Puppies in the Piazza, and we bring in pups from one of our partnered Iditarod racers. And so they have a whole breeding program there, and they bring them on every sailing. And some sailings you are faced with this adorable little 16-week-old puppy, and other times you have like a 8-month puppy. So it really depends on which sailing you get on how cute those puppies are going to be. But I stood in that line, and let me tell you, it's worth it. We also have mountain climbers that come on, individuals that have summited Denali. So they come on, they speak to their experiences there. We also have, again, a partnership with the Deadliest Catch. So we have sometimes the captain or crew members come on and they speak to in a seminar their experiences there, what that environment is like. And then how I mentioned some things for the kids. So we have the park rangers come on and teach them specifics about Glacier Bay National Park, for example, and other hands-on activities. Another thing I always like to call out, this is one of my favorite programs, is called Cook My Catch. So if you go fishing on one of our Princess Shore excursions, and mind you, not all fishing excursions have this option. You actually have to, I found this out, you have to go on one that has a boat with a refrigeration system. So land-based fishing excursions do not have this option. The reason being is the fish actually has to stay a cold enough temperature for it to safely make it on board the ship so that the chef can prepare it. But yeah, you go out, you catch that fish, you bring it on board, and the chef will prepare it however you want that night or the following night for your party, or if you have friends, you can invite them as well. So some really great options there. So how to visit Alaska with Princess. So you actually have 3 different options with us. The first is going to be just a round trip cruise. And we have many different options, many different ports of call that we sail out of for a round trip sailing. We also have one-way cruises. So these are going to be out of, it's going to be from Vancouver up to Whittier. And we do north and southbound options both, or there's going to be a cruise tour. So let's dive in and find out what those differences are. So, oops, sorry, hold on. Did it switch over? I think it's lagging. Hold on. It looks like it switched. There we go. So what is a cruise tour? So a cruise tour is going to be any of those sailings that I mentioned that are the northbound or the southbound, right, from Vancouver or Whittier. You're going to tag on a land portion. So here's a sample itinerary of what that looks like, right? So here you see that 7-day cruise. And mind you too, on that voyage of the glacier, we are guaranteeing 2 glacier sightings on every single one of those sailings. So on the northbound, you're going to be hitting College Fjord, and on the southbound, you're going to be hitting Hubbard Glacier. And then here in this particular cruise tour, then you have an additional 5 days of land. So to get there, first, you can actually do the land before or after too. We have a lot of flexibility in our program. So that's completely up to you, whichever works best. So let's just say you take the sailing first, then you're going to get off the ship there in Whittier, and it's actually a big parking lot. And you don't have to worry about your luggage at all. You're going to step off the ship. Your luggage is going to be transported for you just simply across this parking lot. You're going to walk across, board that train, and then immediately set off to your next destination, which is typically Denali, right? On a 9-hour trip where it's nice and beautiful and scenic, and there's open air cars and everything for you to enjoy that ride in. So without taking too much time on Alaska, because I could talk about this for 2 hours easily, I wanted to share we call it the Ultimate Princess Alaska Cruise Tour. So it's going to be 17 days total. Again, 7 days of that is going to be the cruise portion. The other 10 days are going to be 2 nights at each of our exclusively owned and operated lodges there in Alaska. And here's a map of what that looks like. So you all may know that, yeah, Alaska's pretty big, but it's big, guys. So this is really, if you are looking to get out there and experience the most of the state as possible, this is the best way to do it in one go. So this is a great example of where you can see the sailing from Vancouver up to Whittier. You see the Glacier Bay National Park, the Hubbard Glacier is there, the College Fjord Glacier is there as well, and then all of the lodges along the way, all the way north to our lodge there in Fairbanks. And one thing I do want to point out is if you are looking for an Aurora Borealis experience to really see the Northern Lights, we can never guarantee it because we don't control Mother Nature, of course, right? But the further north you go and the later in the season, you have the best odds. So if you're looking for that experience, Fairbanks in September is the best way to go. That's my little bit of advice there. But something else I wanted to point out is that by booking with Montebello Dream Vacations, you have access to an exclusive cruise tour, so nobody else has access to this. So what this means is it's going to be an 11-night option with that 7-day southbound I mentioned on our Royal Princess. So she's one of our newer ships. She's one of my favorite, actually. And then you're going to do 1 night at our Mount McKinley Princess Wilderness Lodge. You're going to do 2 nights at the Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge with a one night stay in Anchorage. The exclusive components are going to be a dinner at what we call Fanny Q Salon there at our Denali Wilderness Lodge. You're also going to have 2 breakfasts at one of our restaurants there at Denali. It's called the King Salmon, and then a breakfast there at Mount McKinley. Another thing too that's exclusive is the Husky Homestead Excursion. And that's what this looks like, right? So you're actually going to get out there, go to one of those Iditarod camps that I mentioned, and get to learn all about the dog sledding life, what the pups go through in their training, the experience, even what the mushers go through in their training, and it's just fantastic. I've heard rave reviews from this. It's a 2.5-hour experience. So this is exclusive for you guys. And then this is always just something great that I like to plug in here. It's just the best time to go. So I know many of you, some of you have maybe already been to Alaska. You've already seen all of the whales. You maybe want to see bears or you want to see the Aurora Borealis. Everyone has their own agenda in going to Alaska. So this is a great breakout of the different components that you can see and the best time to go. So take a screenshot of that if you need to. All right, so moving on, because like I said, I could talk about Alaska forever. So Princess really is the destination leader, and we go other places, believe it or not, besides Alaska, right? So I'm going to quickly walk you all through some of our new destinations that we're going to for the 2021 and 2022 season, starting with South America and Antarctica. Why, you ask, am I starting with this one? It's a little random. The reason is we have a brand new ship that's coming to us to the West Coast. So it's called the Discovery Princess. She is the first ever new build that's specifically dedicated to the West Coast market. And in the way she has to get here, right? is all the way around South America. So here's what that itinerary looks like. So if you're here on the West Coast, it's really only a one-way flight. Fly yourself out to Fort Lauderdale, take that 50-day sailing all around Cape Horn up to LA, and then you're home free, right? So it's just a fantastic new itinerary I want to share with everyone. It kicks off in January of 2022. Of course, we understand not everybody has a full 50 days to take a sailing, myself included, unfortunately, in that. So we do have segments available from 13 days and longer. So definitely check with Heather on that. Okay, moving on. So Antarctica and Cape Horn, we are going there. Again, as you just saw, we're going around the Cape Horn, not just on the Discovery Princess, but we have a couple other ships doing this itinerary as well. So if Antarctica is a bucket list destination for you, you want to be able to say, you know, been there, done that, I set foot on that frozen continent, we can make that happen for you. We now go there. This is brand new for us this year. Moving on to the Panama Canal, again, keeping up with the South America theme here. So we have 3 different ships doing the Panama Canal. Crown Princess is going to be going round trip out of Fort Lauderdale, but it also has 2 sailings that are out of LA. We have the Ruby Princess, which is doing an ocean to ocean from Fort Lauderdale or San Francisco, if maybe that's a little bit more convenient for you to go out of. And then we have the Island Princess doing the same itinerary, but Fort Lauderdale to LA. Only to LA, it doesn't go out of LA. So stay tuned for that. But it's 10 to 15 days, depending on the itinerary you go through. All right, so moving on to some other things we have coming. So specifically for the West Coast, this is really great. I'm excited about it because not only do we have the Discovery Princess that I just spoke about coming to the West Coast, we also have the Majestic Princess. Now, she's not a brand new ship. She was actually over in the Chinese market, but she's coming over here for keeps. So what that means is that this ship actually has a couple bells and whistles that we're not used to, and it was only for the Chinese market. So we're really benefiting from this new, from some of these onboard features that's going to be new to the market. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. But here's a couple sample itineraries. We have 4 days from $279 per person a day. It's just absolutely crazy. Oh, sorry, that's not per day, that's total. $279 total, all the way through 7-day availability. And then with the Mexican Riviera as well, those same 2 ships, the Discovery and the Majestic, are new for us in this market. We also have the Ruby, Grand, and Sapphire. And those little medallions next to it, that little logo you can see, that actually is going to indicate that these ships have that medallion technology. So keep a lookout for that as I transition through these slides, because that's going to let you know that these are the ships that have all the new technology on it. All right, so I mentioned that I wanted to showcase what some of those new bells and whistles on the Majestic Princess were, starting with Bistro sur la Mer. So this is actually a French restaurant. I know I said she was a Chinese ship, just bear with me here. But we don't have this on any of our other ships here on the West Coast. It is a French bistro brought to us by a chef named Emmanuel Reynaud. He is a 3-star Michelin chef, so really this is a treat to have, and again, new to us in this market. We also have Yao Family Wines. So if you're familiar with NBA player Yao Ming, his family has a vineyard here in Napa, and so you can actually experience his wines now on board, again, only on this ship. We also have a lobster and dim sum bar. If you're like me, you could normally find me on Sundays in dim sum. I absolutely love it, so you can imagine how excited I am to have this on board. It's a really unique offering for our fleet. And then lastly, private karaoke rooms, guys. So if you want to get out there and sing your heart out, but not in front of 100 strangers, now you can actually book out a private karaoke room for a couple hours. There is a surcharge included for this, but it's really not, it's minimal. It's not that much. And then you can bring in your food, drinks, you can hang out, you can have your own private party. What a fantastic way to really enjoy your time on board, right? All right, and then moving on, to cover some of our last itineraries here. Hawaii, just to remind you all that Princess is the only cruise line that does a full season round trip from the mainland being either LA or San Francisco. So that's going to be a 15-day sailing. That's just a sample itinerary there out of LA. And then the Caribbean. So we do, as I mentioned, that Discovery Princess, she has to make her way to LA somehow, right? So she's going to be going through the Caribbean as well. We have a couple itineraries where she has, where she's going through the Caribbean. We also have the Enchanted Princess. She's going to be brand new as well, as along with the Sky Princess. So you can see we have a lot of brand new ships coming to our fleet that we're really excited about. But the majority of our fleet in the Caribbean is going to have that Medallion technology. And one other thing I want to point out, we're going to talk about Princess Plus at the end, but Princess Plus includes a beverage package that I want you all to know is now valid on our private island Princess K's. So if you have that beverage package with us on board, if you get off on land on our private island, you don't have to pay anything additional for those drinks on that private island. So that's new that we've just instituted, and I wanted to share that all with you. All right, and so something new actually for the Caribbean, we just launched this for 2019 and I wanted to showcase it with you. So maybe you say, no, I've been there, done that, I've already done the Caribbean, right? This is a new itinerary that we're actually piggybacking 2 10-day sailings and turning it into a 20-day option. So on the left, you can see what that itinerary looks like. You do stop over in Fort Lauderdale twice because, again, it's technically 2 10 days strung together, but you can see how extensive this itinerary is. Again, if you have the time to take those 20 days and want a much more immersive Caribbean experience, this is the way to do it. So I just wanted to share this all with you. Okay, and then lastly, my favorite, Tahiti and French Polynesia. So what's great about this is that this year, in 2020, we were actually supposed to be back in Tahiti for the first time ever. And unfortunately, that's not happening, right? So now the good news, though, is in 2021, we're back in Tahiti. So this is a great itinerary. It's going to be 10 days round trip out of Papeete on our smallest ship, the Pacific Princess. So she only carries about 670 guests, but she's just been recently revitalized. So now she's all dark woods and lacquers. She's a beautiful, beautiful ship. So I like to tell everyone she's a luxury ship without a luxury price tag, right? So this itinerary, though, you're going to be doing overnights in Papeete, which is, Papeete and Bora Bora, as well as a late night in Raiatea. So fantastic option if you're able to get yourself over to Tahiti there. And I know Heather is looking forward to her trip coming up in 32 days.
I think so. Yep, about 32 days. So I'm really excited. I'll be gone for about 2 weeks.
And we're just also jealous. We wish you would pack us away in your suitcase.
Yeah, it's been COVID-free since July 1st. So, and they've been sailing that long. So I'm like, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's try it and see if it'll go.
Exactly. So we are always hopeful that we are going to be able to sail our upcoming itineraries. And so, fingers crossed that this is going to be the year that Tahiti happens for us. But yeah, really looking forward to that itinerary and getting all of those positive reviews. So lastly, so now that we've already talked about all the destinations, hopefully something has piqued your interest. Hopefully you've all seen something that is new to you. But what about promotions, right? We want to know what we're getting out of this too, what you're going to get with your booking. So starting with, we have a brand new promotion that just kicked off with Labor Day. It's called the Upgrade Away Sale. So what that means is that with your booking, you are going to get a free stateroom upgrade. This also combines with our Princess Plus, which is right here. So what is our Princess Plus? So it's going to be free beverage package, free unlimited Wi-Fi, and your gratuities are going to be paid for already for you. This applies to not just the first and second guests in your stateroom. It's going to apply to every single person. If you have 2, 3, 4, even 5 people in your stateroom, everybody benefits from this from insides and up. It doesn't matter which category you're in. But the benefit really is it's a $95 value per person, but it's only a $40 difference between our base rate and the Princess Plus rate. So really, if you were to buy everything a la carte, while you're on board, you're going to be saving yourself that $55 a day by booking into this promotion early. So it's a fantastic way to just set your vacation off right from the get-go. And then something else. So maybe that's not for everybody. I completely get it. You don't drink, you don't use the Wi-Fi. That's okay. Completely understand. And you're looking for that base rate. I completely get you. We have other options. So we actually have exclusive low rates right now with Dream Vacations. So again, this is going to be an exclusive, and it was just extended for Alaska sailings. So these rates are valid through October 31st. Okay, so I obviously couldn't include the full list here, but definitely reach out to your travel advisor afterwards if you're looking for just these low rates. We have them. And that's it. That's the end of my presentation.
So there's a couple of ways that you can easily reach out to us, that you can join our Facebook groups. I've got a couple of different ones. One of them is definitely my groups with the Ruby Princess and the group sailings that I have next June and September. Those are both 10-day sailings out of San Francisco, round trip Alaska right now. So yeah, and they're really built for everybody, not just friends, families, reunions. An individual can book into it. You don't have to have a group. I already have great group pricing. So yeah, again, I want to say thank you so much for attending. It's been a wonderful event. I thank you, Marissa. I thank you, Sherry. We do have some up and coming webinars. The next one you can see is Royal Caribbean, and they're going to be talking specifically Coco Cay, so that should be super fun. Like I said, in October I'm going to Tahiti, so I'm trying to figure out timing on October's, so I'll definitely keep you posted on that one. And then November 10th, strictly Christmas markets with AMA Waterways. So all of those should be just absolutely amazing. But Alaska is truly an amazing place to visit, and if you have not been there and it's on your bucket list or wish list, definitely now is the time to book Alaska.